Well, hello and good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on Big Market, and we're still outside everybody's least favourite fountain in the entire world. And as you can probably make up behind me, it's still it's like just after 8 o'clock at night, and it still feels bright in the middle of the night. And I've got good reasons to smile, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you exactly why. And it's because, I'm trying to work out where to start. Well, I suppose I should start with the most immediate thing that happened. Is that 10 minutes ago, in a rather Luke-hearted decision in terms of trying to equate a little bit of extra capital but make it fun at the same time, I walked into Asper's with a single £5 note, and I played a single hand of blackjack. The very first time I'd ever played blackjack in a casino, and I got blackjack, ace of diamonds and queen of hearts, $7.50, and cashed out literally immediately. I was in for all of like less than 3 minutes, and I walk out with a profit of $7.50. That's a good start to the night in my books, because here's the thing, and I'll just explain it as well for people who think it's easy to make their fortunes literally at a game of chance. Is that it only becomes a game of chance if you literally go into anything without a strategy, without a plan. And my plan is very, very simple. £5, in my opinion, is the least amount of money that I feel like I should have, and I literally have nothing else on me. So if I play and lose, I can't play again, and I have to call it a night. But that's just so that our losses are... thanks very much, pal. Free shot at Cozy Joe's. If only these guys knew that I've nearly got a whole 150 days without drinking, but that's sort of how it is. And free Cozy Joe's assures when you purchase a drink. So it's only free if you actually give them even more money. So you tell me whether that's actually a good deal or not, because it probably isn't. But I'll keep a hold of that. And you know what? Nice enough, guys. Hello. The camera's on me, lady. The camera's on me. Anyway, so whilst we're on the topic of that, it should be worth noting is that, like I said, if you go into anything without a strategy, you are literally, it's not a good idea not to do anything without a strategy. From eating a meal to performing eye surgery, I would not do any of those things without planning things in advance. So therefore, when things do go wrong, it's not a matter of life or death, and you can very much save yourself for when things go from bad to worse, and we can just about go and take it from there. And besides, you know what? Besides the camera, I'm allowed to record. And why is she concerned? She's not even anyway in the shot anyway, and. I also have the sneaking suspicion if I tried to explain it to her, she literally would kick off, and well, there we are. And as I said, but to be honest, I just don't really have much time for stuff like that anymore. Thankfully, however, I get the chance to explain myself further. So far, as of the recording of this video, we are a whole 100 days into the year, which means we only have 265 left to go. 265 sounds like a lot, don't get me wrong, and by extension it is. But what I'm trying to explain insofar as our quest is concerned is that the more we the more we get the jack together, and guess what? The winnings that we made from tonight will go into our Vegas fund anyway. So what is that? So that's about to be honest. Yes, so £7.50 will be going extra into the fund. I'll tell you what, we'll make it a round figure. We'll call it £8. £8 will go in, and then we'll top it up with another 6 tomorrow. So £14 in one day. Not bad. I'm glad this is happening, by the way, because it destroyed one of my illusions. That being things don't go according to plan unless you stick to the plan. Because we stuck to the plan, and there is a bit of luck that came about through stuff like this. But I am prepared to say, you know what? That's why I literally only do it once. And to be honest, if things go well, maybe next Saturday, maybe we'll just again another fiver and see what happens. Again, thankfully, that's about as much as we're willing to put into it. And to be honest, if the odds go in our favour, then maybe, well, again, I'm just keeping it like a once a week sort of thing, because guess what? I know it's the sort of thing that can breed a level of degeneracy that so far I feel like I've managed to keep myself away from, and for the benefit of this channel and for the benefit of you guys watching at home, I don't want to start conveying the wrong impressions. So with that being said, let's move on to other really cool stuff of the night. That being, well, yes, because so far, like in the last like just 24 hours, to be honest, a great deal has happened, which includes, but it's not limited to, I spent quite a lot of today revising for this Brain of Britain interview I'm supposed to be having on Tuesday. I spent a little bit of time writing here and there. I spent a little bit of time doing workbook stuff and stuff like that. I did a little bit of organising, a little bit of accounting work, video making, video editing, like a lot of experimenting, and all of which has sort of culminated in once again being outside in the real world. I'm glad that we are once again back in the real world, because it destroyed, it continues to destroy one of my illusions that the only reason why people will have an issue is that for some reason people feel like people will kick off with people about just about anything, and as far as I'm concerned, so be it. It doesn't affect me, and nothing they do is ever going to affect me. The only thing I'm prioritized and focused right now is staying true to my goal, and like I said, yeah, this is the voice of a 22nd century gangster speaking. I will do just about what I please, stay within the confines of the law, and at the end of the day, the results of this are going to speak for themselves, because, again, being out here in public, it gives me the opportunity to, once again, just sort of be amongst like the outside world once again. And I'm kind of trying to grow a bit more accustomed to being in the outside world again. Probably because, guess what? I can't, because sooner or later I want to be able to start doing more videos outdoors anyway, so I can't really stay confined to one spot forever. But I am also aware that as the days goes on, you might start to notice a pattern of, well, me being a bit more brave and a bit more courageous. Now, going into Aspers and just so having to pull blackjack it may not be entirely what people call courageous. There is a little bit of luck into it, and I feel like somewhere down the line we could do with a little bit more luck. Luck does play something of a role in the things that we do. Not always, but it plays just enough so that if you have some, so be it. If you don't, you just don't look too hard at it, and you don't become disheartened. Remember the old adage, ladies and gentlemen, is that if I fail today, I can only try again tomorrow. And that in many ways makes all the difference. And among other things that makes all the difference is that, again, just sitting here, just sort of cracking on, getting on with it, saying what I gotta say, and everyone seems a bit of a quieter night so far. It's probably because, yet again, I know it's spring, and by about 1 in the afternoon, or maybe as late as 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the temperature is like just below 20, but I don't know, it's at some point, usually when like the sun starts disappearing over the horizon, or when, even as you can see behind me, the sky starts to turn a slightly different shade of blue, all of a sudden, yeah, it's as chilly as the middle of a day in early February. It just, again, there's no way of putting it, it just kind of feels cold again. Thankfully, I bought gloves, and thankfully, I kind of told myself that probably I wouldn't stay out too late, but rather I just wanted to get my points across and just sort of take it from there. And the reason, again, why we're sort of out here on Saturday nights and why we're still here doing this sort of material is that, for the most part, it's good to do things a little bit differently. It's good to try and exercise our boundaries. It's good to just sort of, well, again, be back in the real world, because other people do it, and if other people could do it, then why can't I? Which, ignobility perhaps, but I will say, you know what, it also takes a tremendous amount of courage and a lot amount of bravery, considering half the things that have happened to me whilst I've been trying to do videos like this. Some of the things that people do to me is just, well, not exactly playing the game. And, well, there's not much else to add apart from stuff like that. I know people think that it's clever to do stuff like that. However, footage will reveal when the time comes that they're not exactly very courageous or brave whatsoever. The proof is in the pudding, and it will be latent bare for what goes on. So again, call it what you will, but that's just sort of, well, how things are. If people want to kick off, they can. It's not a good look one way or another, because guess what? I'm going to stay, I will always stay calm, I will always stay vigilant, I will always find well never to raise my hands, especially never in anger. And I think that just about does it for the moment. I'm trying to think, even as we go on, are there any things that I want to add that I kind of haven't really done over the last 2 weeks since we've sort of had a little bit of a change of style in terms of how we do these videos? Well, for the sake of more my audience on TikTok, is that, again, this is the sort of thing I want to try to encourage, or at least instill a level of confidence that may not be present before, is that there are other ways of making it in this world than feeling that you can't breathe or walk or do anything without being the center of attention. If anything, I consider myself very fortunate that I've never really had such a infliction, so to speak. I've always come about with the temperament of sort of staying at arm's length, but somehow seemingly to be not so. That I'm sort of in the picture, but I'm also don't really want to be there. It's remaining subtle, but whilst also being plainly in sight, which isn't exactly a bad idea. To be honest, I think it's a fantastic idea. It's almost like the man behind the curtain who is pulling the strings, and he stays in his own lane. He knows exactly what it's about. He knows exactly what to do, and he sort of observes things. He takes things in and then processes it, and then determines where exactly his place in the known world is. Because it's very easy for you or I to possibly say, guess what? Just because we're not of it, just because we are within it, doesn't mean we belong to it, so to speak. I spoke about this like 2 weeks ago when I talked about the manosphere, and how even I consider myself to be within it, but certainly not of it. And that's possibly the biggest difference. And it's the sort of thing that I feel like in weeks, months, years maybe, that's the sort of thing that will do me a lot of good, and will keep us out of a lot of silly bother as time goes on. That's because bear in mind, I've been making content on YouTube now for 8 years, and I feel like the way things have gone have also seemed to reflect a style such as being seen, but also seeing not to be seen. Remaining in the picture, but not really all there. And that's because, well, like I said at the very beginning of this, when I just so happened to hit blackjack. It's, if you go in without a strategy, then literally everything falls apart, and you could end up in a lot of bother and in a lot of debt very quickly. By doing what I did, literally having a single go, and whatever happens, happens, and due to my aforementioned knowledge of blackjack anyway, it's just a matter of understanding what happens. And when I say play one hand, I really do mean play one hand. I asked one of the supervisors as to whether or not this was a £5 table, presented my £5, got a £5 piece, put it down. I was at the far end of the table, and they pulled the first ace of diamonds, and then came around and I pulled a queen. And by the way, because she only pulled, the guy only pulled a 6, 12, £5 pays £7.50 immediately. So yeah, it was about as easy as that. And the only other funny thing about this is that as I went to cash out, the cashier immediately asked, are you even allowed to be in here? And yeah, of course I was allowed to be in there. The last time the probe, usually what happens is that I'm not allowed back in after like 6 months once you finish working at that place. And the 6 months ended nearly a year ago. So guess what? There was an issue, and that's how we're here now. And as the night rolls on, and you can see the sky continuing to turn a different shade of blue, the only thing we have to think or consider is, well, what's next? And it's always a part of trying to formulate plans, is that you have to know exactly what the next step is. And whether or not we get lucky again next week is still a little bit up for debate. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, well, again, it's you stick to the plan, and sometimes you have to sort of expect failure. But, as I foretell to mention a few times before, so far we've managed to get through a whole 100 days of the year and win a succession of what I've referred to as small victories. And small victories sometimes means defeat. But here's the rub. And here's the sort of philosophy that any 22nd century gangster would learn to take as his own. Defeat is still a victory, as long as you learn from it. You take every single thing as an opportunity. Every single time I go to work, take that as an opportunity to impress the pit bosses, an opportunity to impress the CADs, opportunities to impress the managers, the supervisors, other customers. Take that as the ultimate opportunity to make a great impression, because that's the only way you're going to get ahead. Is that if you work on things that need to be improved. And sometimes, things do go wrong. Sometimes we have bad days, but thankfully we get through enough bad days without bad things happening. Mistakes happen. That's just how it's going to be. And sometimes mistakes just sort of happen through like a moment's carelessness, but it's a matter of making sure some mistakes are smaller, that you just sort of, I know it indicates like a lack of concentration, but you know what? Once you get past that very small barrier, you could almost get down to it. And whilst all this is going on, and whilst there's a lot more to be said about, well, how else do we do it? I would like to remind people that by this time next week, our Vegas fund will be 1/20th to completion. And considering that by the end of April, we'll be a whole 10th of our way towards our minimum fund. So the idea being is that in about a couple of months, maybe 10 months, maybe even towards the end of the year, either I get to about 5,000 quid into our fund, or five grand maybe what. But to be honest, 6 grand would be even better. Although it may not be the easiest thing in the world to do. However, taking opportunities and opening up revenues to either get more money to go straight into the fund is sort of what it is. And it's we go back to that whole conversation I mentioned earlier about people going into things without any sort of strategy. And in many ways, our Vegas fund is a strategy, because it's the sort of thing that is burning in the very back of my mind, and it's something that we've got to consider about what we're doing it for. That's what it's all about. So therefore, we stick to it. And as we stick to it, we should just be reminded time and time again about what it's all about. Hello. Oh, I nearly took a tumble. So yeah, I would say just as things go, I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty chill with all this. And take even the way that we do these videos, for example, that we sit outside here, the fountain at Big Market. Yeah, people can see me, but, well, so what if they can? The camera's on me. I'm not getting in their business. I'm not causing any harm to anyone. So they know I'm there. But what about it? It doesn't mean they can do anything about it, because if they are going to do anything about it, then well, what are they going to do? it's I know it sounds it seems more like red tape the more you think about it, but let me put it another way. Okay, so as I mentioned before, if anybody wants to say anything, anybody wants to do anything, okay, they can do so. But so what? What are they going to do about it? And besides, I could have the camera facing the other way, and I could literally do the entire thing. Hello. I can literally do the whole thing with the camera facing the other way, and well, so what if I do? It's just sort of there's nothing wrong with that. People may think it's a bit weird, so guess what? When things do, the camera's on me, brother. Don't worry. But thanks anyway. For have a good night. So yeah, and whilst all this is going on, just doing the right thing, being friendly with people, and not worrying about how things going. It's just sort of, well, you crack on, you get on with it. And some people are curious, and it is and I know it does look a little bit unusual, but guess what? It's not that unusual, because guess what? So many people all over the country now are doing it. The only reason why mine is a little bit different is because, well, of the reasons I've chosen to do it. Because I'm not 100% convinced, as time goes on, whether it's like the best look in the world to do it. It's just something I have to do a little bit of soul searching inside, and there's nobody that can make that decision apart from myself. And I think that that displays once again more of those the fantastic qualities of a 22nd century gangster. Is somebody who knows his own mind, somebody who knows what he wants to do, how he's going to do it. He's able to make decisions completely off his own back, and there's not really much people could do, because if people do want to misbehave and do things they shouldn't do, and all of a sudden things get a bit dicey, guess what? That is an obstacle that, to be honest, only really happens for as much as maybe a few seconds, and then we all move on from it. There's not much that comes about from it, but the lasting consequences for stuff like that is the sort of thing that can really come back to haunt us. Hello. Oh, stag do, Seducer. Hello. Do you want to get on, brother? No, wait. There we go. Enjoy your night. Certainly looks warm anyway. Yeah, I would say about, wearing ponchos in this part of the world, but to be honest, I wouldn't mind one myself. It is starting to get a little bit colder again, but well, what can I say? This is just that time of the world, and oh well, it's how it is. Anyway, as the night goes on, and and whilst it does get a little bit busier, is that all of a sudden more and more people do sort of like pick up on about what goes on, and again, it's just one of those things. But well, it would be a good way to see exactly if we could put this theory to the test about being rather aloof with our appearance, as though we are in the shot, but the aim is almost to appear not to be seen. And yeah, I'm perfectly sound with this, and some people may consider this boring, but let them say that. I'm actually perfectly sound with the decisions I make, and guess what? As long as it means I stay well, and I stay healthy, and I stay within the realm of safety and stuff like that, then there's very little people can do about it. And besides, if people again do want to kick off, guess what? We can talk it out, and guess what? There's the community engagement and safety hub van just a short a stone's throw away. So people do want to talk about it, and they do want to have a word, and that's how it is. But like I said, the camera has been stuck on me this whole time, and so what anyway? Because it's just how it is. So if people do want to have an issue, I suggest they keep up with the current events. They understand how the law works, but what can I say? Again, people come in with no strategy, and ignorance is bliss, as they say. People walk in as though they have some people, again, like I said, and it may even happen again later tonight, who knows, but there are people who will walk around pretending, as far as they're concerned, that the law is entirely what they choose to make it. Hello. Now, normally this doesn't happen, but as we saw from that woman about half an hour ago, there will be people who will think they can do that, and I don't exactly know what she's got a cob on for. If there's no such thing as privacy in a public place, hello. And besides, if people have got an issue, once again, I usually just, smile and wave, say hello to people, and, well, what exactly is intimidating about somebody smiling, waving, saying hello, and just sort of chilling and minding his own business? So, what exactly is the problem with that? Not much, but once again, where we live in a world where people think they can, and it's just sort of how it is. And I'm not exactly what you call deeply impressed when people try to act. Bear in mind, guys, one of the second week I ever did some of these videos, I get approached by a lawyer, and the camera was on me. I mean, the video's out there. The camera was me on the whole time. She walks into it, demands for me to delete the footage immediately. What, just because she walked into the shop because she didn't believe me, because she's not very trustworthy? Imagine that, a lawyer who is also untrustworthy as well, doesn't know the law. That's a great character reference right there. So, yeah, and we argued back and forth in front of a police officer. She went to ask the officer, he didn't even think to look at me in all the time when this was going on, and just said, yeah, he's absolutely fine, so what's the issue? So, and by the way, she didn't even think to talk to me or look at me again and all of this, and I just sort of walked away as you do, because, well, I'd say there was not much more to be said, and that's how it is. Actually, whilst we are, I'm going to put on some gloves. It is awesome. It is absolutely freezing me nuts off out here. 1 second. And hello again. You join me a few moments later, and these are working a treat, by the way. I know I've got slightly thicker ones, but I have no idea where they are, and we're just sort of getting by. And as time goes on, this is just the sort of thing that we continue to look ahead to. And the things we mentioned so far do reflect a rather strong form attitude of, well, all the things we stated before about strategy, planning, and making sure we understand the criteria for when things do go inevitably wrong. And we're getting quite a lot of police coming down on the street now, so I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but and again, I know this is just the sort of, well, they're definitely not coming for me. You do not need 7 police cars just to arrest one guy who's not doing anything. Oh well, in fairness, this is just sort of the routine, as it will, for big market, it would seem. But again, thankfully, I've made the conscious decision about not pursuing that sort of thing, but that's just sort of how we're going. And as the night suddenly goes on and the sky behind me is almost turned black, we now have to ask more pertinent questions, and even more police are rocking up now, so something either very serious has happened, but we're going to have to remain aloof for the moment, because as time goes on, hello. We sort of do it, and they're opening up the van immediately. I suppose I could give a bit of a commentary, and they've opened up, and a guy's struggling, and no, a guy has just been straight in. Yep, there it is. Again, I could have just swiveled the camera around and showed you what it looks like, but I don't think that's necessary, because it's just sort of how it is. Anyway, yeah, that's just not what it's about. So therefore, again, this does raise a few more questions I want to be able to ask. Is that, well, what would happen in a hypothetical future where all of a sudden we do, our ship comes in? If we managed to do something rather incredible, and a lot more people started raising eyebrows, and they started noticing, because guess what? More police are on their way, by the way. That's, I suppose let's go take, think they are coming down the corner. No idea what's going on, but oh well, maybe we'll just again let them get on with it. It's not really that. It's not really worth looking into closely, and furthermore, we're not exactly law and order material, I suppose. Not because we couldn't be, but rather because, well, yeah. And here they come. Here they come again. Yeah, this is a bit of a strange. I don't really bother to like or even investigate about why these sort of things go down, because, well, guess what? If people want to kick off, if people want to get themselves arrested, so be it. We are not going to be like that, but we are going to be in the real world as much as any other. And what does it say? When in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's a woman going into the, and she's putting up a fight. By the way, I'm giving a bit of a play-by-play what's going on. Woman is is like struggling to get in. No, she's struggling again, struggling again, struggling again, struggling again, and well, they finally managed to get her to sit down. So that, as they say, is that. So were they like dealing or something like that? Because the first guy who got in the first van had a backpack on and looked quite burly, and the second one just sort of looked almost quite, I want to say, almost like my mum's age. And I could see police who are standing outside Pop World, and they're just sort of going about their business. Anyway, it's sort of as you expect anyway. But this is why I have said, by the way, and that usually Big Market is quite well, Newcastle in general is actually quite good for police. I know sometimes, again, because we're only human and things make people make mistakes, and it's just sort of how these things happen. It's not intentional for people to overlook certain things, because that's would be deemed almost gross misconduct. But now we have civil enforcement officers just sort of walking around. Maybe like, I think I seen one of these guys sort of like in plain clothes earlier. He was just sort of like surveying the scene, and well, that's just sort of how it is. That's sort of how it is. Anyway, as I mentioned before, being aloof, but also being very much in shot's length and stuff like that. It's the way to sort of like. I think that's just, you know what? That's the decision I feel like I've half taken now as we're going through this, as I mentioned before. But I think there's a lot to be said about being within the scenery of things, but also remaining aloof. That you keep at a certain distance away, and things don't kick off. And I really don't think you can get. I think it's the best case scenario for stuff like this. Hello. So not too sure. A bit of a strange one there. Somebody just took a photo of me, and I don't know why. I waved to the camera. Like, I don't know what the issue is. The camera's not even on her or anything like that. But yeah, like I said before, as you'll start to understand, people will come to their conclusions. People will say whatever they want. I really couldn't care less for stuff like that, because if there were issues and if people wanted to try and concern about that, hello. If that's just how people want it to be, then guess what? They could come and tell me that themselves. Moreover, people could say as they wish, and you know what? Despite the fact that I've been here for, like, again, how long we've been doing this now? Since Valentine's Day of this year, so for nearly the last 2 months. And again, if people wanted to raise more concerns, if people had an issue with this, guess what? They're more than keen to talk to me themselves. It's an open invitation. If people want to talk to me and they want to have it out, then guess what? They can do so. But as far as I'm aware of, and as far as I'm concerned, that, as they say, is the end of the story. And I really don't care one way or the other. So guess what? They can do as they wish, and that is just about that. Meanwhile, I will. It's kind of strange, because how long have we been here now? For about half an hour or so, and I know like the other side of the street, like outside Big Market Chippy, is like really busy, but it looks like there's an enormous queue with like a hen party and stuff like that. All of them wearing those cheap pink cowgirl hats. And yeah, everywhere else is just kind of the same. Everyone's just enjoying their time, everyone's just cracking on, getting on with it. And well, that's just sort of how it is. And you know what? Good on for people for enjoying themselves, because guess what? I'm actually enjoying myself out here for being able to talk to you guys, being able to say my piece, being able to get on with it. And again, we haven't had any issues, and that is just as they say that. And furthermore, again, people can't really have that much of an issue with it anyway, because guess what? Well, have an issue with what? The camera's not been facing the other way the whole night. I've been talking to you guys. I paused for a moment to go put my gloves on. And by the way, the video files for these sorts of things, they display the actual date and time for when these things happen. So if people do want to kick off, as they inevitably do, I wouldn't recommend it, but whilst that happens, guess what? Gloves, and that is just as they say that. So what right people have to complain, I have absolutely no idea. What are they complaining about? I do not know. And I didn't even have an issue with somebody taking a photograph of me almost in plain view, because you know what, smiled and waved and let them get on with it. It's only because, like I said, people have no idea, because there are some people who are like right cowards about this sort of thing, and being cowardly is not exactly, as I mentioned before, being very courageous. Being courageous would mean sometimes you have to be a bit brave and admit sometimes you may look a little silly sometimes if you do get the wrong end of the stick. But when it does happen, most people just sort of get on with it, they're all right about it, and we all move on, and everybody just sort of has a good time with it. So thankfully, again, these sorts of things, rare as they may be, don't really happen as far as in terms of like trying to stop me before. And that's the thing as well, I feel like people don't quite get, is that nothing that anybody has done has actually ever stopped me from doing anything. So why people feel like it is, or people say that I should stop, guess what? At the end of the day, there is only really one person who can decide what I'm going to do, and guess what? That's me. And I haven't got an issue with that. So why should other people? Sorry to get into like hypothetics about stuff like this, and I apologize for getting a little bit angrier, but what right do people think they have in thinking they can start telling me what to do anyway? And it's the sort of thing that everybody knows fine well. They have no authority, they have no power, they can't tell me, and they will continue to understand that, guess what? They don't have the power, the authority, the power, the position, the presence, or anything up their sleeve whatsoever that can dictate to me that they can do whatever they want with me. They can't say to me about doing this, that, and the other. We're in public. I can record as much as I like, and that's just sort of the way of things. People may not agree with that, but guess what? If it's in law, then so be it. And I have not got one issue whatsoever with people coming up and challenging me about it. In fact, I more than agree in people doing it, because once they do, guess what? I'll explain to them exactly what the score is, and everybody just sort of cracks and gets on with it. And besides, anyway, it's just why exactly would people have an issue? And again, if people had an issue with it, guess what? There's police cars all over the joint. There's a community support van. There's people out. There's security out. If people had an issue with it, you know what? Get the old bill involved then. And guess what? We will go together. We will walk hand in hand as far as I'm concerned. So therefore, again, what people think, why people think they have that authority, I really do not know. Why people think they think that that's just the right thing to do, I have no idea. Why people think that, guess what? They have the right to start pushing me about as they wish. Guess what? It's not going to happen. Those are the sorts of people who, again, the whole encounter may last for a few seconds, but in reality, they are just another obstacle. The obstacle being of people who believe they are more powerful than they are. Because guess what? It's certainly not true. Hello. And the faster people realize, guess what? They are not all that, the better. Actually being taken a few steps back down to earth isn't exactly, you know what, probably one of these days it may happen to me as well, where somebody may knock me a few pegs and I will be back in my place. However, I sincerely doubt that's going to happen very soon, probably because I know far better, and guess what? One of the advantages again of having stuff like this is that not only can people see what's going on, is that they can hear it as well, and it's hardly within my sort of nature, so to speak, to start telling porkies and stuff like that about things that happen, because I don't really need to do that, because guess what? It's all there, and that sort of attitude is hardly necessary. Thankfully, that's just not how that's just not playing the game. And police rushing across and getting into a city vault. Yeah, as before, I'm going to try and narrate the action. No, they're going into Whiskey Down. That's what's going on. One is heading into Whiskey Down. Another police officer is running across the place, and they've pinned somebody down inside. Security, one of the officers. And is it me, or is it like it's just normal? And two more officers are going inside, and hello. Another two officers are like following in tow. Yeah, that's the third arrest I've seen tonight. Yeah, I'm only narrating for the sake of the camera and stuff like that. Don't worry, yeah, I do TikTok and stuff like that. Don't worry, no, what I usually do is I usually get the footage, then slice it down, do a bit of editing, and then set it onto TikTok from there. The camera's on me, by the way, sister. No, not really. That's not really necessary, because all the action that goes on. Yeah, how would I might get? There's another van coming up, and another ambulance actually. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, thanks for asking, by the way. Is that so, like about 10 minutes ago, somebody just kind of like stood beside the tree, took a photo of me, and I just like waved and like hello and stuff like that, because some people get the wrong end of the stick when it comes to stuff like this, but nah, he was being really, really chill and all that. Yeah, I mean, it's not illegal or anything like that. If it was, then guess what? There's police. Why would I do something illegal in broad daylight with all the police around? It just raises too many questions. But anyway, enjoy your night, and the show that takes place goes on, stuff like that. Sorry? Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's. I think actually somebody's taken bad. I saw somebody like. Because they just sort of like collapsed in the doorway, and now they're having to get more officers. They had to get. Yeah, it doesn't look great. That much ambulance. Definitely not. Anyway, keep yourself safe, brother. Yeah, so apparently a guy we just spoke to, he seems to suggest that somebody's been attacked with glass, and is that just what happens around here? Is that just sort of the show, and somebody's brought out bagpipes? What's going on? Well, I can't tell if he's about to blow or suck. You pick, it's probably the same result, and even more police coming down. No, actually that's an ambulance, isn't it? Yeah, this is like, this is becoming a bit more apparent, yeah, more police, and they've literally blocked off like the whole street now. And again, if you feel like this play-by-play narration is a little bit tedious, is that, again, I try not to do stuff like this because, well, obviously something very serious has taken place. Yeah, I think. Been stabbed with... Yeah, I think what's happened is that somebody's been stabbed with glass inside Whiskey Down.
Been slapped? Are you vlogging?
The camera's on me, sister. Don't worry about that. It's fine anyway. But yeah, I think somebody told me that somebody got attacked with a glass bottle inside, and they sort of collapsed in the doorway as the police were coming in.
Do you do those kind of videos on YouTube where it's like Newcastle nightlife out?
Yeah, I do stuff like that before. Yeah.
What's your name on YouTube?
Raging Reality 1.
Raging Reality
1.
Okay,
also.
1. Cheers.
Nice one,
hey, if all goes well, I could get up to 500 subscribers by the end of the night.
You might do.
We'll make sure of it.
You will. They'll get
Promoting the people.
Jeez, thanks anyway. Have a good night anyway. Oh, there we go. Thanks for that. And it's I suppose for what it's worth, and whilst I almost feel like it would probably be worth just keeping the camera off at all, because it's not great, and logically the police are going to have to like corner off the entire square because when things go wrong. And yeah, because even a bus is like trying to it's even stuck and trying to like prevent it getting past. However, yeah, I must be honest, he hasn't even started playing the bagpipes. So he's been stood there for like the last 2 minutes, and like nothing's taken place. Anyway, with that being said, yeah, okay, so medic staff are just kind of going in, and yeah, this is like not great. And by the way, one thing I will say, I think it's kind of cool, is that because like the monologue I'll be doing this, it's been almost in one piece. It means you get to see like a little bit of a transition of. Oh no, he's starting at last. He's not playing yet. Well, I think they're playing of Flower Scotland. I think I have no idea what's going on. We've got again William Wallace in front of me. We've got the entire road blocked off with ambulance, police on the other, and somebody could be fighting for their life. And bear in mind, guys, and let me just I'm going to reiterate this again, because 2 weeks ago you may remember what I mentioned about controlled aggression, because it was 2 weeks ago that a couple of guys, they came past and they splashed me on the head with that filthy water from inside the fountain. And I talked about how easy it would be to get up and kick off and literally take all 6 of those guys down, because I think the phrasing that I use is that the police, the ambulance, they would not get there in time. But as I was going to mention before, is that, because I have no idea what happened inside there, but what happened 2 weeks ago is that as I was like walking my way to my car, I had to pass through Eldon Square, and I explained about how there was like loads of police, loads of ambulance, because some girl was sat on a bench and got smacked in the face so hard that it caused her to have a seizure. Because guess what? That's the sort of consequence you can have for stuff like that. And I don't know about you guys, it's just the sort of thing, that's just the sort of thing that can happen through somebody, for whatever reason, decide they want to get physical and take what's Raging Reality 1.
What?
Raging Reality 1.
What is it? What is it like?
I do like videos for YouTube and for TikTok and stuff like that.
Can we get in it?
Yeah, go on. The camera's mostly on me anyway, but you guys want to get in there?
Newcastle's mental, mate. Newcastle's mental.
Not the Jordy boys, mate.
What's your account?
What's your account?
Raging Reality 1 on YouTube.
What is it?
And then, by the way, I should point out, so the reason why I want to keep the camera on me is because I didn't really want to like get the habits, because
What is it?
somebody got attacked with a bottle in there.
No. Someone fell off the table in the bar and cracked their head.
Also, it was an accident. It wasn't attempted murder.
In that bar, you're allowed to stand on the tables and dance, and they fell off and.
Well, if somebody got stabbed, isn't that not attempted murder?
Yeah.
Someone got stabbed? That's normal in Newcastle.
Wait, what's your account?
We're using going on
I'm
YouTube.
just going to say
Raging Reality 1.
Raging.
Reality.
How many followers have you got?
Nearly 500 now on YouTube.
Raging Reality 1.
Yeah.
I'll screenshot.
Just get on YouTube and see how the night goes and stuff like that. Anyway,
Can I have a shout out?
yeah, go on, if you want to say
Shout out to Marcus Hartley and James Merton.
Anyway, I'm sure you appreciate that anyway, whoever he is.
That's a knock from me.
Oh, fair enough. Anyway, have a nice night anyway. Ah, well. It is how it is.
Let me say something.
Yeah, go on, whatever you want.
Follow Riley Darling on TikTok.
There you are, guys, and I thought they were about to ask whether or not I was on TikTok as well, but oh well. Yeah. No. Anyway, whatever it is, that's. Well, at least there we are. We're getting a bit more of it. Also, no, attempted murder is not normal, and again, I didn't want to embarrass the kid or anything like that, but well, guess what? It is true. Guess what? How is when you how is stabbing somebody? How is that not attempted murder? How is that? How is that not attempted murder? Now listen, maybe this is just.
Yes, well, I'm not drunk.
I'd rather not, because I had no idea. Anyway, so yeah, like I was saying, we'll just sort of move on for now. And by the way, as the lights from the ambulance are still sort of like going off and on in my eyes, you may also want to start to notice a small pattern of when these just sort of things happen, and I think quite a lot more people are getting like off the bus and just sort of having to make their own way down. I hope these guys weren't lying on Get to Gateshead or anything like that, because what is the bus anyway? Wardrow or something like that. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a while. I'd recommend just getting off the bus and making a walk for it. So, yes, I must admit, I would not, again, never a good idea to get on a table in a place where where any sort of liquid or fluid is flowing about the place, and because again, that's the kind of stuff that will happen. And guess what? As long as the ambulances are still here, we have absolutely no idea whether or not things are going from bad to worse. I suppose, well, for what it's worth, police being on hand, and I think that they're supposed to have some sort of method of first aid on hand, and I think ambulances are still here, and we just sort of continue on. And oh god, it's kicking off. Yeah, there's a guy the guy in an orange shirt and all that is trying to point fingers at those guys we just talked to before. And the police, again, don't kick off in the middle of the street, especially here, because guess what? The police are literally looking at this. And yeah, well, I say not, but I can hear them swearing from here. And again, I don't know if the guy's on the phone to the police or not, because guess what? They're right there, and they should be looking at this. Anyway, guys have just come out of Dream Apartments, and well, yeah, let's see what happens. And unless, of course, things are getting from bad to worse again, but we have no idea. Yeah, and I feel like police and ambulance are starting to like possibly head out, because I think they're getting the guy away. And oh dear, yeah, guy sort of like just again to explain what's happening. This guy is like been on the wheelchair. He's sort of like in place. He looks stunned is the word I'm going to use, and it's sort of they just put him in the back of the ambulance, and they'll just be away very shortly. Yeah, that's like. At the very least, he's conscious or anything like that, and I'm glad this is happening, because guess what? Well, it's just a few days of bed rest and a couple more days to like get his memory back and stuff like that. So hopefully the guy's going to be okay. So if he just happens to be watching this, I hope he's all right. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, I'm not too sure if there's anything more to add apart from that, but yeah, I think some of his friends are just sort of like outside the ambulance. They're trying to talk, saying that who to contact as next of kin, trying to talk about what goes on, and yeah, it's just sort of the way of things. Unless it's nothing to do with that. Yeah, maybe he's not his friend at all, and he's just trying to like gauge questions and stuff like that. Maybe he's pissed at the guy for not dying or something like that. I really don't know. Not exactly very playing the game or anything like that, but it's a shame that, you know, I don't know, Jimmy Spend wasn't here right now, because he would literally have this case settled in like 2 seconds flat. So, yeah, thankfully, it hasn't really gotten any colder, but I still feel a little bit cold in like the recesses of my fingers. But I think, once again, trying to reiterate the way I do things and try to explain it again. And again, an advantage of like doing the videos this way and getting myself out there is that people can't say it isn't, and therefore, you know, people will just be able to look at it and they'll say exactly what it's about, and well, we'll just go from there. And to be honest, the only reason why we do it at night instead of in the daytime is because, well, it hadn't even occurred to me during that time, because sometimes Newcastle can be a little bit funny sometimes during the day, mostly Saturdays, but again, it's also coalescing with what goes on with work, and that's just sort of how it is. And yeah, those poor souls have been stuck in traffic for a while, and thankfully, I wonder if it's like just the fashion that they close down Whiskey Down like for the night when these sorts of accidents happen. Maybe that's why the guy was mad, because he couldn't have just gone to either City Vaults or Louis Liquor right next door. Maybe that's what the rub really was, but we might never know. Until then, I think that's just about that. And yeah, night goes on, life goes on. Hope the guy's okay, and well, let's continue to what we're about. So, what might change next week? Because I'm possibly thinking about maybe having like a night in or something like that next week, because of other matter aside. Because I also, and this is more for like what goes on, is that because we are now a whole 100 days into the year, we have got 265 left of the year, and believe it or not, it's gonna come and go like magic. You won't even realize it till it's gone. So with that being said, what exactly are we gonna do? Well, surprisingly enough, there's actually quite a lot of things we can do. Chief among which, but not limited to, is that I have got like a buttload of videos to make. And to be honest, I kind of want to get into the stage of doing about like maybe minimum 10 videos a night when I don't have to go to work and stuff like that. So clearly push has to come to shove in some aspects. And to be honest, in all the time we spent outside and we've shot the breeze and interacted with people, I like to imagine that we're sort of slowly but surely getting our foot in the door. And sometimes when that happens, and as I mentioned before, sometimes we do it and we are, well, as they say, perfectly satisfied with what goes on, and you just sort of roll on and get on with it. Thought somebody shouted "excuse me" at me, but clearly it wasn't the case. Anyway, I must say again, Big Market is once again starting to feel a little bit busier once again. It's inevitable to be expected. And as the night wears on, again, you'll start to notice it's a shame as well. You know what I really think I should do, if I was to like to continue coming out doing these sorts of videos, is that I really ought to like come with somebody else who does videos in this nature, because guess what, it would be it would be a bit of a cool idea if that we just had we could play off each other and we could talk about other matter, because some if not most of the time I'm sort of out here just sort of talking about things by myself to you guys or to the people who just happen to be watching. But then again, it's just sort of a little bit of a trait of a 22nd century gangster. You are a lone wolf. You are, as they say, one man against it's dried up, by the way. There's no water in the fountain at all, but sometimes you do feel a little bit like you're walking through the valley of death, and the only way in order to do this is, well, yeah, traffic must have been built up, because the ambulance is now finally on its way, and maybe we need to be on our way as well. So let's just sort of reiterate a little bit about what we've learned, because my backside's a little bit sore from sitting on the hard steps. Yeah, as I said before, you know, everywhere looks quite busy. It's traffic must have been backed up for a while. Probably people would have had to do U-turns and whatnot. And well, yep. Well, welcome to Newcastle on a Saturday night here in Big Market. That's just always been the way of things. And I wonder, for what it's worth, we'll just maybe take a lap round to the estate and like just to see what happens, because it's been relatively quiet and peaceful and stuff like that, despite the huge incident about you know, the guy from Whiskey Down and other people aside. But conveniently, let's just let's see what else we can do with the night and see what else takes us and what else can we do, because you know what, the night's still young and we'll just sort of roll with it, so to speak. So insofar as rolling with it works, seems like still quite a good night, and we'll just take it from here. So yeah, it is how it is. And for what they're worth, let me give you guys a little bit of a shot of Big Market anyway. Let's do it that way. So let's see, there it is, Big Market all the way up there. And yeah, and well, that's just sort of a Big Market for you. It's anyway, just a hello. Yeah.
Hey man, what are you filming?
Wait, hello.
Please don't be dickheads, come on.
No, he's fine.
It's
Anyway,
the end of the world.
Is this YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. YouTube.
What's your channel?
Rachel Reality 1. Nice hat, by the way.
What are you filming?
Nice hat.
Nice.
Yeah. How's oh dear, the night just never went away, did they?
What is this?
Just just to talk about what like nightlife is like, and well, it's nuts in it. It's mad. Anyway, enjoy your night, guys. Enjoy your night. Hope your night goes well. Anyway, so yeah, don't film me and all that. Yeah, that's a highly original one. And yeah, so let's just you and I go for a little walk and stuff like that, and let's just see what goes on. At least you know, again, as things go on, it's sort of helped to break the ice, so to speak. And we'll just let's watch, and we'll just get across. And whoops. Yeah, we're just waiting for the bus to get across. And yeah, sorry about this. So to wait. And there we go. So yeah, it's not even more like ambulance and stuff like that. I feel like I can hear everything happening all at once. And there we are. So again, coming outside Cozy Joe's. Actually, I was about to say that it was nothing much going on, but it's actually packed. And there we are. Cozy Joe's going just as well as before. And well, let's just keep this train rolling. So there we go. Actually, let's get to the other side of the street, shall we? And let's just keep this rolling. So yeah, all across down here, by the way, is where like Evening Chronicle used to be. But and then you also get, you know, other like newspaper venues, but these have been shut down for quite a long time. But let's just keep it rolling anyway. And yeah, it does look a little bit run down this part, and it's mostly just to get to the other side of Cathedral Square and stuff like that. Anyway, let's keep it rolling for now. Oops. So now we'll just try and like keep it in the middle of the road and stuff like that. Whoops. Sorry, ladies. Sorry. Whoops. Right, there we are. And we just keep it rolling. And well, here we are anyway. AAT. What is an AAT exam? I don't really know. And let's tell you what. Let's do it like that as we get through like the Irish, because ow. Yeah, it seems as if, you know what, the night is just about in full swing, and more stag do's are coming out and stuff like that, and we'll just keep it rolling. So yeah, I must be honest, it feels just like your bog standard Saturday night as things go. It will just sort of try and get past dead quick, and yeah, things seem to be going. And by the way, we also have to come past yeah, I still, they've added lights actually. That's yeah, I have no idea whether or not that's been here since the last time, but yeah, social clubs, still the most anti-social colours you could possibly imagine for a club. And I don't even, because it never occurred to me at the time to actually bother getting like, see if there's any reviews for it out on Google. Sorry. But yeah, even more police police are, you know, out on patrol tonight. Like, hello. But can't really help that, and let's go outside. Hi. Yeah, and again, more people use that word, and they act as if it changes. Oops, sorry. They act as if it means or changes anything, but so be it. I know people, you know, again, although the lighting for this actually looks pretty sick. I'm actually almost surprised that they never thought about like using like blue flashing lights for certain venues, because I don't know, it kind of it looks very particular, but it's probably the sort of thing I can imagine why people would kick off every so often. It's not always the case, but some people are a little bit particular when it comes to this sort of thing. Anyway, let's keep going. Anyway, so we're back to sort of like familiar grounds at Stevenson Quarter. Well, Stevenson Court, I should say, and I suppose we could say hello to the statues whilst we're here. And yeah, I feel like we could possibly almost call it a night from here. I feel like for what they are, I've kind of said my piece, and we could just sort of get on with it from there. Okay, here we are, and let's go. That's probably got to be Stevenson there, because you've got the steam engine behind him, and anyway, so yeah, again, quite a nice night as far as lights go. Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's just about that as far as things we wanted to say. And again, as the days and weeks roll by, once again, you'll start to notice a pattern where I will probably even say this in other shorts and other videos I do, that people do things without any semblance of like strategy, planning, and people will just say things without thinking about them. Because if people did take the time to think about what they were doing, it would save them from an awful lot of trouble. I know not everybody will agree with that sort of philosophy, but what can I say? Not everybody has that kind of foresight to say to themselves, guess what? If I just stopped and paused and thought for a moment what I was doing, then maybe, you know what, we could save ourselves from a lot of bother. So I think that's going to do just about for tonight. And I think, yeah, as we stand outside, yeah, I think that's just going to about do it. So actually, let me get in position. I'll do my final piece from here. There we are. That's a very grimace sort of ending for you, and I guess I'll see you guys again next time. Thank you.